4, 3. Welcome to the Candidate Forum for the Office of the Winfield Township Supervisor. My name is Linda Gibbon-Lussick, a member of the League of Women Voters of Wheaton, and your moderator this afternoon. I live in Milton Township, so I will not be voting for any of the candidates participating in this forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League is not affiliated with any political party. The League's purpose is to promote civic responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government and civil civic discourse. Providing opportunities to meet candidates is a major mission of the League of Women Voters, so voters can become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are looking forward to a respectful exchange focused on the issues today. We will benefit from a civil exchange of ideas rather than personal attacks. Our goal for the forum is that it will inform and inspire rather than divide. We do hope that the candidates will speak about their goals and plans and refrain from speaking about other candidates or what another candidate has or has not done. All candidates were invited to participate in this forum. Participating in today's forum for Winfield Township Supervisor are Nicole Prater and Sheila Rutledge. The format today is a forum and not a debate. Candidates are expected to accurately represent the facts, and their responses reflect their own views and opinions. All candidates attending today have signed and returned the ground rules agreement by the deadline established in the invitation. These rules specify the format, time limits, broadcasting of the forum, and other rules related to the conduct of the forum. The candidates will begin in alphabetical order with their 1-minute opening statements. They will then alternate the order in which they answer questions for 1 minute. Since this is not a debate, rebuttals and exchanges between candidates will not be allowed. After the question portion of the forum, each candidate will give a 1-minute closing statement in our standard alternating pattern. A member of the League will be acting as timer, and I will enforce the time limits. Candidates will see a slide to let you know that you have 30 seconds and then 15 seconds and then stop. Should a candidate exceed the time limit, I will ask them to finish their sentence and move on to the next candidate. To ensure that questions for today's forum represent a balance of topics, a panel of experienced members of the League of Women Voters has reviewed the questions submitted for appropriateness and to avoid duplication. The candidates have not seen the questions ahead of time. Finally, I want to say how appreciative we are to the candidates who are not only willing to serve in office, but who agreed to be here today to share their ideas and goals. So let's get started. Candidate Prater, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nicole Prater. I'm the supervisor of Winfield Township. I've resided in Warrenville for over 25 years. I have one son, Blake, who's 4 years old. I'm a United States Air Force veteran who has done one tour in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I'm a lifetime member of the VFW and a member of the American Legion. I believe in service before self, integrity first, and excellence in everything one does. And that's why I ran for political office, basically. I'm a precinct committeeman in Winfield Township. I've been the Warrenville Park District Commissioner, where I've also served as president of the Park District Commission in Warrenville. I've been the Winfield Township Clerk. And then in December of 2020, I became the supervisor of Winfield Township. There, I've risen to a position of leadership. I've become the clerk of the supervisors of DuPage County and the clerk of the township's officials of DuPage. I recently just became part of the Winfield Township Mental Health Board. I look forward to continuing to serve you as your Winfield Township supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rutledge, your opening statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the League for giving us this opportunity. My name is Sheila Rutledge. I'm a current DuPage County Board member. I was first elected in 2018, kind of came out of nowhere. I had been a precinct committee person for the previous 2 years and jumped right to county board. In 2022, I was reelected to another 4-year term, and I was the top vote getter by several thousand votes in that election for our 3 seats for the county board. I've lived in Winfield Township for 35 years. I've raised my 2 children here, and they went through the District 200 school board or schools. I have been involved in my community through chambers of commerce, forest preserve volunteering, and a variety of other things. I'm a small business owner and a real estate investor, and I think I have the time and the opportunity to advance services for our people here in Winfield Township.
Thank you. Okay, our first question is for candidate Rutledge. What is your understanding of the role of township government?
Okay, so the township government has 3 functions. They take care of our unincorporated roads, they tax assess our property, and they provide general assistance. I believe that role, currently, I think senior services and youth and family services seem to be the focus of the existing township board. But I think general assistance can really be expanded to help people with things that they struggle with in their daily life. ESL, seniors with technology. I'd like to get the high school kids that are techie to come and give our seniors tutorials in how to not get viruses on your devices, how to not fall prey to scams and things like that. So I'd like to see our township government provide a greater menu of services.
Thank you. Candidate Prater, same question.
So yes, there's three levels of township government: assessing property, roads, and unincorporated areas, as well as general assistance. Now, general assistance, the big thing though is to get the word out of what Winfield Township can do for you. So I'm, as a supervisor, you're the supervisor of general assistance, the chairman of the board of trustees, you're the CEO of the township, you're the treasurer of the town funds, treasurer of the roads and bridge funds. You're in charge of weed control in unincorporated areas, also in managing Bigwood Cemetery. And basically, I want to get out there and inform people of what the township can do for them. So I'm doing a new project at this moment, a spring break project, and reaching out to the kids of free and reduced lunch programs. And I'm saying, hey, this is what Winfield Township can do for you. We can help you with utilities. We can help you with rent. We can help you with getting food. We can get you in touch with Ways, our Wayne and Winfield group that actually helps with counseling and therapy and stuff like that. But just getting the word out of what township government can actually do for people is what my plan is in pursuing my second term.
Thank you. A similar question, somewhat related, is what is your understanding of the role of the township supervisor?
Well, I think I just explained that too, going through, but I can also give you the services that Winfield Township provides as well. We're notaries of the public. We vote, register people into vote. We're helping with absentee voting, maintenance of the Bigwood Cemetery, welfare programs, Winfield Township road maintenance, and tax acceptance. But also partnering with my general assistant director, Claudia Gables, and helping basically kids for Christmas, back to school events, Thanksgiving, as well as we have a Easter program. And then I also did something where I can help the families that go through a terrible emergency like fire or flood or something like that, where we give them a packet of how to get a hold of us if they need more help, as well as maybe some gift cards for gas, clothing, food, and just anything that can help them with their daily lives at that point after they go through a crisis.
Okay. Thank you. Candidate Rutledge, what is your understanding of the role of the township supervisor?
Well, I think that the first thing that a township supervisor should do is listen to their constituents and provide an open communication with those. Currently, our Winfield Township website is only available in English, but I live here in West Chicago, which is a majority minority community. And a simple push of the button would allow our website to be translated into Spanish. And I think that's vital to make sure that those people understand what the services available to them are. I think that, again, providing that general assistance beyond just for seniors and youth and family services, which currently those groups are acquiring services in Wayne Township. So seniors, youth and family services, along with our taxpayer dollars, are going up to Wayne Township and really are not being provided for here in our township. So that would be the first thing we'd like to see happen.
Okay. Candidate Rutledge, again, somewhat of a similar question that sort of tags on to the one we just had. What do you think is the biggest challenge currently facing Winfield Township?
Well, I think there's kind of an unforeseen challenge at this point. On our county board, the Monday night where the president froze all of the government funding that comes to our communities, that next morning we had a county board meeting and we realized just how much the county relies on government funding for our community services program. So if there's a substantial cut in those services, then I think that the general assistance is going to kind of circulate down to the township level. So those that are really involved in making a difference in lives are going to turn to the townships for support and assistance. Currently, oh, and I totally lost my train of thought there. Sorry about that. Again, some of the things that we should be providing right here in our township need to start happening.
Thank you. Candidate Prater, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges currently facing the township?
Basically informing people of everything that we do. For example, Wayne and Winfield Township partnered together for Ways. Ways just last year served 46 clients in Winfield Township and provided over 443 hours to help Winfield Township constituents. So it's a partnership. It's not a one-way thing. Also, just reaching out to I want to do a partnership with school districts, but I also want to do a partnership with city people as well. Reaching out to each of the cities saying, hey, this is what we can do. Make sure your clients know about it. Leave my card up. It has my own cell phone number to be able to reach out to people. I've gotten calls 24/7 on situations that have happened and try to help people 110%. Also reaching out and making sure our seniors know about our senior bus program and our senior and disabled bus program, which is a free service that can get you from point A to point B 4 days a week, Monday through Friday.
Thank you. Piggybacking on that a little bit, what are your top priorities for improving public services to Winfield Township residents, including infrastructure, which we really haven't touched on yet? And how would you pay for them?
So I think that with the ARPA money over the last
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so
Maybe
sorry.
I misspoke. That was Candidate Prater who had that first question. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's okay. She's just excited to answer.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer of work within your means. I don't believe that we should be levying 5% every single time to people. We just started a new service, the Winfield Township Mental Health Board, which they will say what they want their levy to be, and Winfield Township Board will then say, yes, you can levy at that, or no, you can't. However, I believe that the Township Mental Health Board is going to need that 5% to start off with to just get basics started. But I do believe that working within your means is very, very important. And Winfield Township has been doing that for over 5 years now.
Okay, Candidate Rutledge, now your turn. What are the top priorities for improving public services, including particularly infrastructure, and how would you pay for them?
So I think that of course, senior services, youth and family services, I'd like to bring those within our township. And I think we missed an opportunity over the last 4 years as a county board member. We have been tasked with deciding where the COVID relief money, the ARPA money came from the federal government where that was going to go. Winfield Township was the only township that did not use every dime that was offered. They left $206,000 on the table. And I think that that money would have at least been a great down payment to a facility that would better provide for our seniors and our youth and family services instead of them having to drive to Wayne Township for those services. People in the south end of Warrenville, that's a pretty long drive to go up. And from what I understand, Wayne Township has pretty much cut off our seniors up there. So we need to have a new program to take care of those services right here in our own township.
Okay. This is a question from the general public for candidate Rutledge. What services does the township provide to unincorporated areas versus those living in incorporated areas such as cities and villages? And an example that they gave was leaf collection.
So roads, leaf collection, brush pickups, those kind of things are enjoyed by people who live in our township or unincorporated areas. I actually have lived in an unincorporated area for the last 35 years and have I don't do leaf pickup because I'm chair of the environmental committee for the county, and you're not supposed to pick those leaves up. They're supposed to decay on the ground. So, but the services that we should be getting are assistance where people are in a bad place in their life. Nicole mentioned a couple of fires that we've had in West Chicago. They should kind of be like your local Red Cross, ready to step in and help those people and to coordinate with the other entities like the Red Cross who would come in for emergency support for those people. So I think that their ear needs to be to the ground to really listen for when our constituents need help in their everyday lives.
Okay, candidate Prater.
So
What services does the township provide in unincorporated areas versus those living in incorporated areas?
absolutely, the leaf and brush pickup definitely is one of them, and John does an amazing job doing all that. Absolutely. Also, like Sheila said, being like our local American Red Cross and helping people out, absolutely. But I like our bus services. It's 100% free service that people can use, free and reduced bus services. I also did a program where if seniors are in need of food, going on every Thursday morning, picking them up and taking them to our local neighborhood food pantry here so they can pick up food so they have it for themselves every single Thursday. That's a new program I did. Ultimately, our recycling event, it's open for all, but we try to, if someone needs help in the unincorporated areas, they can always reach out to me at any time. My cell phone's available. As well as if I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to reach out to who I need to get to, whether that's at the county or the state or just to John at the road district. But we'll get your answers and help you out as much as we can.
Thank you. Okay, candidate Prater, you mentioned the mental health board. What qualities would you be looking for in those you would appoint to the mental health board?
I've already appointed people to the mental health board. Our first meeting was in March. I was looking for people of all walks of life, and I wanted everyone or every town at least represented that I possibly could that anyone applied for. Winfield Township consists of Winfield, Warrenville, West Chicago, northeast corner of Aurora, a little bit of Wheaton, a little bit of Naperville too, believe it or not. I just wanted to reach out to all the walks of life. I have a lawyer on the board. I have a psychologist on the board. I have people that have worked within the schools on the board. I have a pastor on the board. I have a veteran on the board and people that also just have dealt with mental health issues on an everyday walk of life situation where they might have a child that has a disability or they themselves have actually been suffer of alcoholism or drugs. So I reached out to every walk of life. I actually, the board had to approve it. I gave the resumes to the board and they all agreed that everyone on the board is pretty darn good to be on there.
Thank you. Candidate Rutledge, same question.
Thank you. And I'll agree, Nicole. I like the appointments that were made. If I were to have to go back and reappoint those folks, I'd look for some professionals. I'd look for some that had lived experience with maybe addiction and that they'd overcome. I think it's important to have that mix. on the county board. I'm always grateful for the accountants and the lawyers that are on that board, but I'm the kind of person that advocates for, I don't want to say the little people, but people that are not your accountants, not your lawyers, not the higher earners in our county. So I do things like get them to be able to have hens in their backyard in the middle of a pandemic, things like that. We did a pay study at the county as well and found that our employees were making less than the surrounding counties, which made it difficult for us to staff. So we ended up giving across the board pay raises to those that were not part of a union. So I'm always going to advocate for the general public.
Thank you. We're going to stay with the Mental Health Board for a little while here. And this is a question from the general public. So candidate Rutledge, what is your position on how the mental health tax should be used and who the funds would go to? Would any of the funds go to the township for administrative costs? And if so, how much or what percentage of those funds?
Thank you. My perception of the mental health board is that this is a volunteer position. I don't want to see any of those funds to go to an administrator. Those people are stepping up, wanting to serve, and I would bet on that board they have administrative experience. So no, I would not want to see those desperately needed mental health funds go to somebody that is stepping up as much as we appreciate their services. At the county, we are currently building the Crisis Recovery Center because it is obvious that we are not doing enough for those that are having a mental health crisis. And so I want every dollar of those funds to go. It did take us 2 rounds to get that approved by the voters. And I thank our supervisor for having a change of heart on whether that was a good program for our township.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Prater, same question. If you could address the question related to the actual mental health tax and administrative costs.
Thank you very much. You guys are all misunderstanding. The mental health board is its own tax levy. So it's its own entity completely. Therefore, we're going to need someone that's going to be there 24/7 to answer FOIA requests, to talk to the lawyers saying, hey, do I need to have this, setting up the bylaws, talking to lawyers saying, do I have to have a resolution for this? Do I have to do this? Do I have to have a binding agreement with these people? So yes, and believe it or not, every other mental health board has an administrator that has a mental health board in their township. We also have to have a lawyer. So in case someone doesn't like the way we ruled on something and they sue the mental health board, we're covered. There are outside costs that need to be done. We have to have our own email addresses. I mean, I don't want anyone to personally FOIA my personal email address for anything regarding the mental health board. They can do whatever you want, but I don't know who's going to answer your FOIA request because we don't have an administrator, someone that you can actually reach out to 24/7.
Okay, thank you. One last question regarding the mental health board. How would you address the potential disconnect? And this is for candidate Prater first. How would you address the potential disconnect between the mental health needs assessment and those who apply for mental health grant money, but may not be addressing what the needs are as shown in the assessment?
The cool part about this is that the mental health board had our very first meeting. We're still just creating our bylaws. And that's actually a question probably for our chairman, who is Eric Flout. Because again, Winfield Township Supervisor just appointed the people. It's its own entity. They have their own way of doing things. It'd be like you asking me questions about the library. Yes, I'm an elected official, but I have nothing to do with that library. I am on the mental health board, but at the same time, we're just starting. We're baby steps. So ultimately, we have to do a grant program and set up what the grant qualifications are to even start that question. So ultimately, once we get up a website, which I believe will be connected to the Winfield Township website because it's cheaper or free, and then go from there. But making sure that I know that as a group, we all have decided that it would be very good that they have to, in order to get the grant, be servicing Winfield Township people. So I think that's a benefit, definitely.
Thank you. Okay. Candidate Rutledge. No, I'm sorry, candidate Prater.
No, Rutledge. Rutledge still has to answer this question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Yes, candidate Rutledge. Um, Let me repeat the question.
Thank
How
you.
would you address the potential disconnect between the mental health needs assessment and those who apply for the mental health grant money, but may not be addressing what the needs are as shown in the assessment?
Well, I think that's up to the board to decide whether or not, to decide where that money should go. I think that the township uh, could potentially offer grant money to that board in addition to whatever the tax assessment is. But we currently do not have a 501c3 board at the township in order to write grants or accept donations. I have offered to be that last person remaining on that board, but I haven't received any follow-up about that. But the disconnect, I think that that should be a board that makes decisions based on their board. I'm not sure while I think it can work in conjunction with the township, I think that they should remain separate entities and make those decisions on each one of those boards.
Okay, thank you. Again, candidate Rutledge, for you. We're moving off of the mental health board now, and let's focus on services for senior citizens, veterans, and low-income residents. What additional initiatives would you promote to support those residents? And are there any services for those groups that are currently being provided that you believe should be curtailed or eliminated?
I would not, I don't think any of the services that I'm aware of should be curtailed or eliminated. I think they should be greatly expanded. For veterans, I think our mental health board is probably best suited to take care of their needs. But I think overall, I think ESL help, particularly here in West Chicago, for those that are struggling to learn English, I think we can provide help for that. ACT prep classes for high school seniors, helping them move on to college. I'd like to see us develop a township garden. In the last 4 years, our need for fresh fruits and vegetables has grown so much for our county that we need to do something to be able to support our food pantries. I'd like to have seminars for tech help, schedule classes for things that people struggle with in their daily life. I think that's a way to bring
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question, candidate Prater.
I definitely don't believe anything should be eliminated. Everything should be growed upon. So working with many different hands, whether that's with the Veterans Affairs at the county, helping veterans, but also at the same time, yes, the mental health board could help possibly with some of those things, but also reaching out to veterans, saying that in Winfield Township, saying like, hey, did you get your veterans discount on your taxes or your assessments, stuff like that. Also senior discounts and seniors knowing who offers discounts, what services are provided, reaching out to them and letting them know, hey, did you get your senior tax freeze for your assessment, stuff like that. I've gone to many towns events, like in Warrenville, they have the Park District, they have a senior fair. I've gone to those. Just reaching out and telling people what we're able to help them with and how we can help them, and growing with the other programs that can actually service them. We at one point in Winfield Township did have a garden, but the sheriff took that over. So the sheriff does all the stuff for our gardening and stuff like that at the township level.
Thank you. Another question for you, candidate Prater. What does fiscal responsibility mean to you, and how will you ensure that it is achieved?
I've always had a balanced budget since I've been in office. I'm very fiscally responsible, only using what we need at the township level. So like I said, we're not like schools where we always level that 5%, levy that 5% always. If I don't need that, I'm not going to levy 5%. I'm only going to use what I need for staff, reaching out to the community, and actually what we're going to need at the office. Our township building's paid off, which is great. Do I wish we had a bigger township building? Absolutely. I wish we had a community building and maybe a bigger area, which that's one of my goals that I would love to reach out to for the community and ask for that. But I want to do it at township level. I don't want to go out and ask for a referendum from the township people. Just recently, the township board increased all the salaries for the elected officials except for the trustees. I voted that down. I believe that it's a service to self, service for the community, not a service to self, that I'm doing this position. So at the same time, I do not collect insurance money, or I let that, I have my own private insurance for being a veteran. So the township doesn't have to pay that for me as well.
Thank you. Candidate Rutledge, same question.
Fiscal responsibility. Yes. Kind of as obviously Nicole is there on the day-to-day. I can only look as a citizen of our township, but I think it's very important to get that 501c3 board in place because the slate of candidates that I'm running with, 2 of them have grant writing expertise. And I think seeking out those dollars would help relieve some of the burdens that they have on their budget and draw in funds to reduce the burden on our township taxpayers. I would also work within the balance or within the budget constraints, but I would like to see us start a fund to start financing that senior center. Again, the ARPA money that was left on the table could easily have been a great down payment on a facility that would have provided those services. So again, I think that was a missed opportunity.
Thank you. The next question is for candidate Rutledge. What steps would you take to increase transparency and public engagement in township decisions?
Well, I think that we actually right now have a citizen that for the last 2 years has been videotaping the township meetings and posting them to YouTube. The current clerk has declined to do that, even though we voted pretty overwhelmingly at one of the annual meetings to be able to do that. I think that that is one of the quickest ways to provide transparency for what this board is, what the board is voting on. I think that social media is also a place where we can get our message out. Hardly anybody is not there in some form. And so I think that's a great communication vehicle, as well as I think that surveys to our residents and finding out exactly how they feel is a vital addition to what we decide to do going forward.
Thank you. Candidate Prater.
Yeah, the way we can help in transparency is definitely recording meetings and getting it out there. Again, current clerk, even though he was asked to do that, has not done that. So as much as I can say and say, hey, you should be doing it, do it. It's not being done, and thank you to that citizen for doing so. Ultimately, we meet our FOIA requests 100%. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to me. It's been pointed out that the ARPA funds on the table, the $206,000, the ARPA funds ended in December of 2020, just to let you guys know. I got my position December 4th of 2020, and I used as much as I possibly could of those ARPA funds as a supervisor when I could. So reaching out to and getting staff at the county to actually approve a whole bunch of those ARPA funds within just a month that I had it was difficult, but I did it.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Prater. In these divisive times, how would you handle disagreements among township trustees or other township officials?
Absolutely. Within the township trustees, I just remind them of what their job is. Approving bills, approving the budget, and approving the levy. They can question anything. They can bring anything up in a meeting as long as, 2 of the trustees say, hey, they want something on the agenda. It gets put on the agenda. We discuss it and talk about it and go from there. Disagreements with other elected officials. Really haven't had that, but either way, reaching out to Sheila on many things at county level. I know that if I call her, she's going to pick up and she's going to help me brainstorm and try to figure something out. Same thing with Jim Jay, same thing with Greg Schwarzy. There are representatives at the county level. I've also reached out to people on the other aisle at the state level, and at least just informing them of things. They appreciate it. They know what's going on, at least in Winfield Township, and then they can make an informed decision on their votes.
Candidate Rutledge, same question.
Would you please repeat the question?
Yes, in these divisive times, how would you handle disagreements among township trustees or other township officials?
Well, my whole life has been service. I spent 15 years in the restaurant business, and for the last 30, close to 35 years, I've been a portrait photographer. And I have found that you catch more bees with honey, and that I would never have gotten the wonderful expressions that I did as a portrait photographer if I hadn't been firm but nice. So I've always worked on that mode. Again, in the restaurant business, your income is definitely determined by your attitude. There is one thing I want to correct the record on. I believe Supervisor Prater talked about CARES Act money that ended the month after she got elected. The ARPA money was distributed through 2024 and has until 2026 in order to be spent. And that's the money I referred to that she left on the table.
Thank you. Candidate Rutledge.
Yes.
How would you respond to those who would prefer to eliminate township government and shift those services to the county or another local governmental unit? We hear this topic come up from time to time, and we wanted to raise it.
Thank you. Well, because I've lived in an unincorporated area for the last 35 years and enjoyed those services, I would not want to see the townships go away. I think they do provide a valuable service for each community. And as my role as a county board member, I've had that conversation at the county level as well. And the county is like, nope, we don't want those services. We want that divide to maintain. I do understand that there is a House and Senate bill to allow communities to place a referendum on their ballots to get rid of townships if they would like to. I think that makes sense in some of the more rural areas of the county, but in the more highly populated areas, I think that that mix of services is important.
Candidate Prater, same question.
Yeah, I'm against any township government, even in our rural counties, to be eliminated whatsoever. I believe township gives big bump up into helping community members in what they need, as long as they're informed about what township government does. Ultimately, I've reached out to my state rep, state senators saying, hey, vote no to this, but we'll see what happens to that. I know that Metropolitan Township Group, as well as the township officials of Illinois, are against that as well. And they're working with other people and other legislators to not have the bill proceed, but we'll see what happens there. With ARPA funds, just so you guys know, I purchased a brand new bus for us in Winfield Township. Like I said, I only reach out to the stuff that we need in Winfield Township, and that's at the time that we needed it.
Thank you. Okay, we have time for one last question before closing statements. This is for candidate Prater. In your opinion, does the township need to improve the way in which it coordinates services with other governmental units? And if so, in what way?
At this time, with other governmental units within other townships, as well as at the county level with a 211 phone number in case anyone needs help for information at the township level or at the county level. Thank you, Representative Rutledge, for helping them do that. But ultimately, I believe everything at government level fully understands it. Even our state reps and state senators, now that we've tried to drill into them how important township government is, especially these last couple months. I believe that just reaching out to schools and possibly even senior centers and stuff like that could possibly help us in a way to let people know what we can do for them.
Okay, candidate Rutledge.
Question again, please.
Yes. In your opinion, does the township need to improve the way it coordinates its services with other governmental units? And if so, in what way?
yes, I think that coordination is important. For years as a portrait photographer, I marketed my business through as many groups as I could talk to. And I think that that's a good model for the township as well. We can reach out to the schools and your VFWs and the county and really improve relations there. So we always know what's available to us to be able to support our citizens in whatever endeavors they have. I do believe it's important to keep those lines of communication open with all of those entities so we don't miss opportunities to do better in our township.
Thank you. That was our last question. It is now time for closing statements. Each of you will have 1 minute for your closing statement, and we will start with candidate Rutledge.
Thank you again for this opportunity today. Again, Sheila Rutledge. I am a current county board member. So in the last 6 years, I've learned about the ins and outs of government, sticking to a budget, looking forward. I commend the current board of trustees and the supervisor for stepping up. It's not an easy role to be in an elected position, and I understand that part. So I'm thankful to those that have stepped up. I believe that myself and the slate of candidates that we've assembled will do an excellent job for our township by providing expanded services to some that are already happening and to really put our ear to the ground and hear what it is that our citizens want us to do. I'll hope that you can take a look at the information, and I'll ask for your vote on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Prater, your closing statement, please.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters. Thank you to Sheila Rutledge for being in this forum as well. Just want to reach out. I believe in service before self, integrity first, and excellence in everything one does. And I want to continue to bring that to the township. You can talk to me at any time. I'm available. I also want to say that I do not collect insurance from Winfield Township. I am also basically a service member. Representative Rutledge never said that if she was going to get this position, if she's going to stay on the county board or not. But believe it or not, I don't believe we need another Tiffany Hayward having 2 positions. At this point, I have a trustee. Right. I have a trustee, Judy Lucas, who she's the coroner of DuPage, but she's also still staying as a trustee, so she's double dipping as well. So I just am saying I want to focus 100% on Winfield Township constituents, whether they're from Warrenville, Winfield, West Chicago, Aurora, Wheaton, doesn't matter. I'm your representative and I want to continue to do so. So re-elect Nicole Prater on March 17th, early voting starts, and then April 1st, please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you both, and particularly on behalf of the community, thank you for being with us this afternoon. Our democracy thrives when all of us are engaged. Attending or watching a candidate forum is an excellent way to be empowered to join discussions on local issues and make your voice heard on Election Day. We hope that each and every one of you will vote and will inspire your family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Information on how and when to vote can be found at vote411.org and the League of Women Voters of Wheaton website and on social media. We hope that you will take full advantage of early voting, which starts tomorrow, March 17th, since Election Day, April 1st, falls during spring break. Recording of this forum can be found on the League of Women Voters website. And again, thank you to the candidates and best of luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
Thank you.